Hello. Good day. My name is Paul Gerst with Travis CI. Welcome to Office Hours with Travis CI. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Um, we want to provide you valuable feedback, but keep it brief. Today, Travis CI's Michael Mendy will talk about Docker Build Cloud. Mike will be about 30 minutes, and we'll have time for questions. In the interest of time, please keep your comments to the subject at hand. Email support at Travis CI for product questions. Today, we're fortunate to have Michael Mendy with us. Michael Mendy is a software engineer at Travis CI and one of the most prominent members of the CI/CD community. He regularly speaks before groups talking about CI/CD. He's spoken at IBM, DroidCon, Lead Dev, ARB Dev Summit, and many more. His intimacy with CI/CD pipelines comes with extensive knowledge of things like YAML, Docker, and other software infrastructure technologies. I'm going to turn over to Michael. Michael?
Thanks, Paul, for that introduction. As always, it's fabulous. All right, so we're going to be talking about Docker Build Cloud integration for Travis CI today. So we're going to get into a couple of things that you're going to need here. You're going to need a Docker Hub account. It looks like this, if you haven't seen it before. So this is actually the sample we're going to be using here. So sign up for Docker Hub if you don't have one. And while you do that, get your environment variables and set those in Travis. So in this example, I have them, as you can see here, set to Docker pass, Docker user. And this will make sure that Travis CI can talk to Docker and obviously initiate build cloud. So we're going to talk about getting started here. If you want to first run your Docker build cloud build locally, you can run docker build x create driver. And these commands will also be available to you after the webinar. So you can actually just replicate this and also this repository. So let's go down here a little bit more. We'll also look at some of the actual stats too, and we'll see some of the past builds. So we can kind of get some build history. We can kind of see what platform we're building on. You can see ARM64. Okay, let's kind of get into the guts of this thing. Let's see the actual build cloud shell script that we're actually going to be using to really initiate build cloud that I've refactored here. So you'll see here, it'll be Docker logging into Travis. And of course, we're going to be echoing our environment variables here. It's going to be a standard input. And then we're going to be right here, Montana Mendy Docker Builder. And this is exactly the repo we're going to use. So let's go into that repo now, which is this one. And we're going to go into the .travis.yml. And we're going to just kind of take a look at what it is. It's not actually that complicated of a YAML file, but I'll explain why that may look the way it looks. So we're going to be using a minimal language because everything that we're doing actually is from that bash script. So we don't really need to find a language. We're using Jammy for the distribution. Obviously, service is Docker, so we're going to call Docker. And then we can see here, install, and then we're going to change the permissions to that build cloud script that I made. And then right here is where we're going to start pushing to the build cloud and see how that works. So let's go to Travis CI. So it looks like the last one was successful. That's always good. And then we're going to go to here. And in the interest of time, we're just going to really restart the build. Now we're going to be opening Docker Build Cloud. See Docker desktop. So let's make this full screen. So you can kind of see here just some of the builds that I have done. So 56 minutes ago, I was changing some things around. And you'll see this actually populate once Travis CI actually initiates the build and actually calls the image hashes. So let's see what Travis CI is doing. I think it looks like a provisionally setting up the VM. And it looks actually like the VM just started. Yeah, it did. So we have some worker information. As always, in all these webinars, I always say, to make sure worker information matches up to your config, and make sure really the config matches up just in general when you start a build. And you can see we're using Git here. All right, so we're exporting the environment variables here, Docker user, Docker pass. And we're going to keep an eye on this here. Build history. So we got, remember 57 minutes ago here was our last one. So right now it's talking to the hashes. All right. And we'll see here, login succeeded. So right here, we're logging into the build cloud. We're into the build cloud. It's now loading the definition of the Docker file. And we can get into the Docker file a little bit as well after. We should see, yep, there we have it. Docker desktop, you'll see where it says just now, which means these are completed. And these will automatically now get pushed up to Docker Hub. So let's take a look at Docker Hub. And you'll see here, this actual one's actually kind of popular, I guess. But now it's we'll refresh and it should say last pushed 1 minute ago. And you can kind of see it right there. And Travis CI has it passed, and we'll see exactly what the Docker file is saying here. So we know that we're using Node 14, the slim mode, and just basically really for verbosity for everyone to see here. So I also want to go over the Docker file, like I said, and just quickly here, we have the manifest, we have the image hash. So if there's any, we can check that hash later. I recommend using Docker Scout for that. As you can see that we actually have Docker Scout enabled. So that's something to keep in mind here. Okay, so now that we've pushed the Docker cloud and I've showed you how easy that is, let's kind of go over the Docker file itself and see kind of how that reads. So this is a really simple Docker file here. Basically, I picked Node 14 Slim, and you can do Node 14 regular as well, but Slim is a smaller package. Work directory, well, the classic /app. We're going to be copying that package JSON to a package lock JSON, and then we're going to run npm install only production, expose that 8080 port, and then run these commands npm start. And what that is going to do is it's going to run the little app that I have that just says hello world that I have. So this is an Express app that I created. And so essentially what we just did was use Travis CI to actually push an Express app to Docker Hub, which now people can actually go here, download it, and try it for yourself. So really right here, the public view here is you'll want to actually just copy and paste that into your terminal, given that if you have Docker CLI installed and Docker desktop installed, and then you can put your own tag name in and then use Travis CI yourself and then give it a try. This repo, I believe, is private, but I will make it unprivate so everyone can take a look at it and go from there. But I think this is a pretty straightforward process, and it's a very well needed feature of Travis CI and Docker in itself. So I think this is very crucial and a good new feature that could be really used. Say if you have a parallel build or something going into the build matrix, or if you want to use the bake function in Docker. This is we didn't really get into this. I'm not sure if there's enough time for that, but again, there's tons of things you can do with Docker Build Cloud. This is a 100,000 foot view, and this is just showing the quick integration and how really quick you can integrate Docker Build Cloud into your Travis CI builds. So, so I guess on to questions now.
There are no questions, but just a point. If you go to travisci.com/subscribe, you can sign up for the Travis CI newsletter. And once you do that, you'll be on our email list and you'll get access to Michael's GitHub repository, which will have all this stuff in it. So just go to travisci.com/subscribe, put your email address on the top of the page, allow about 48 hours, and Michael will give you access to his GitHub repository.
And one thing to note, Paul, I think I get a lot of questions actually after the fact of these things that go live. So feel free to message either support or me personally at montana@travis-ci.org, and I'll be happy to help. So, and also don't forget, if this is your first time or you're curious about using Travis, sign up for a trial. And again, if you're running into any issues with the trial, message me, Montana, at travis-ci.org, or ask support. We have a fantastic support team. And we'll get you up and going with whatever it is you need.
Excellent. Michael, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. This will be on YouTube in a couple minutes. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.